Hey guys, it's Alex. I wanted to give you guys an update on the car shopping front. Give you my thoughts as to what I think about the 18 Mustang, because I've driven some. I haven't been able to get it on video because, you know, if you go to a dealership with a camera, they're going to think you're going to be fucking around and not take you serious. So I took this car shopping venture on the serious side. So I went and drove a 2018 Mustang, and it drives like a Mustang. There isn't anything that wows me about it. It's, you know, it's an S550. It's an S550. I have an S550. So I wasn't really wowed by the power, because when you're used to an 800 horsepower plus car, 440 doesn't really do much for you. But that was the easiest car to finance. But what really threw me off about the 2018 Mustang is the transmission woes everyone is having with them. Everyone's having major transmission issues, and honestly, the allure of the 18 Mustang was because I thought they had totally revised the transmission. I planned on putting over 600 rear wheel horsepower to this car eventually. And with the way the transmission is currently configured, I don't know if they're going to fix it for 19. I don't know if they're going to fix it for 2020. But the way it's currently configured, I'm not about that life. So let's move on. GT500. 11 and 12 GT500. You can't find anything decent. That's the key word, decent, under $32,000. All these cars are around the same price range, okay? So $32,000, $33,000, you can find a GT500 for about 40,000 miles or so, 40 to 50,000 miles, clean title, you know, real clean car, well kept, $32,000. Now, what's the problem with that? I am not going to pay cash. I have some money, but not that. I don't have that kind of money for a GT500. I was looking to finance some of it, and that car is 6 years old. And banks look at you like, oh, sure, we'll let you finance it if you put half down, 3/4 down, you know, to have a halfway decent interest rate. And I was like, all right, well, I thought about it. Then I drove it. And after you drive an S550, 15 and up Mustang, then you get back into an S197, it feels old. I'm telling you guys, it felt like a truck. It, not literally, but it didn't feel good to me. I guess my black car was very racy, and I knew what to expect out of it because it had an anti-roll bar. It had bias ply tires. It had skinny fronts. It had a slightly loose suspension in the front, really tight in the back, and it had, you know, like race seats. So I knew what to expect out of that car. But what I didn't expect is the S197 GT500 to drive almost the same. I said to myself, crap, this thing drives really bad, because I'm used to an S550, and I drive this car all the time, this Genesis that everyone makes fun of. But if they were to drive it, they'd be, you know, blowing on it. But I went, man, I don't like it. I love how it looks. I love the allure. I would love to have a GT500 for the right price, but after driving it, I went, fuck me, you know? So then I drove a Boss 302, and about the same thing, but with a lot less power. I'm not one of those guys that saves the pussy for the next guy. I'm going to wring this car out. The next car that I get, I'm going to beat it up. I'm going to daily drive it. I'm going to put the miles, you know, kind of on the higher side. So I thought to myself, if I'm going to spend $30,000, I'll be damned if I'll do it in an S197 again. Yeah, I understand the Boss will retain its value. Yeah, I understand the GT500 will retain its value. But I still have to drive the car and enjoy it. And if I don't like it, I'm not going to buy it. So I started working on the Fairmont. And after working on the Fairmont for a couple of days, I went to myself, shit, why can't I make this the daily driver? Why can't I get this thing going? Yes, it's more cash out of my pocket, but I'm not going to go into heavier debt. So I'm going to try that out. I'm going to get it going. I'm going to get everything in it. Get it as ready as I can, because that wasn't the intention of that car. Wasn't going to be a full-blown race car. It was just going to be a quick Fox body, and if it happens to go pretty fast, I'm happy with it. If I can happen to get 600 horsepower out of it to the rear wheel, I'm going to do that. But it'll be a quick daily that I don't really care about. I already own it outright. I don't really care about the paint. I'm not going to paint it. And resale value is only going to go up because I got it for nothing. Long story as to how I got that car. Eventually it'll come to light, but right now it's not the right time. So fortunately / unfortunately, I will not be able to bring you a new S197 or a 2018 Mustang to the channel because I didn't like the 2018 driving because it wasn't that much different. I didn't like the price and financing, going into debt again, and having two car payments because I would have traded this thing in. The trade-in value on this thing wasn't actually bad. Everyone was like, oh my God, what's that thing worth? You're going to get fucked on trade-in value. Believe it or not, a 70,000 mile Genesis is still chasing 13 or 14, maybe 15,000 depending on the dealership and depending on condition. So it looks like I'm going to be keeping the Genesis for the short time. Look at this guy cutting through the lanes, which is legal. You can cut lanes in motorcycles. I don't mind that at all. I mean, they can get whatever breaks they can because they're on fucking motorcycles. But it looks like I'm gonna try to get the Fairmont going. I put the rear end in it, which I'll show you here shortly, and I started to look at it and go, I freaking like it. I like the car. It looks really good, and you get a sense of satisfaction from actually wrenching on something and quote unquote building something instead of buying it. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure the channel would have grown a ton if I would have gotten into debt another $30,000, but it didn't make any sense to me. And really, how many viewers want to start watching me build up an S197 again? If I'm going to build up an S197, I'll get like a 13 Mustang, like a Deep Impact Blue or a Ruby Red that cost me $20-something thousand as opposed to a Boss 302 that's going to cost me in the 30s just because it's rare. I would probably rather do a GT, but then there comes the financing aspect, this and this and that. So we'll see what happens. But for the meantime, check this out. I installed the rear end on the Fairmont. Hopefully you guys enjoy this couple of minutes and you'll kind of understand where I'm coming from based on the decision I made. Hey guys, it's Alex, and today I'm going to be working on the Fairmont. Yes, all this crap here, these rear end parts. I'm going to start assembling the 8.8 that I got from John Lund. I already put in one spherical UPR bushing, and obviously I didn't film that because I wanted to make sure it went well before I actually videoed the other side. Make sure that when you're going to do something, don't do it for the first time live. Just seriously, in case shit goes bad. But yeah, I'm going to flip it. Get the other side installed. I'll film that, and then I'm gonna go ahead and really start looking to bring it on over, mount the control arms, and then go ahead and stuff this rear end in it, put the tires underneath it, see what it looks like after it's all mounted on the car and on the ground. Okay, so I've had the bushing some ice for a little while. Not just ice, I've had it in the freezer for a bit. Because it shrinks the metal, okay? So when you have something really cold, it'll shrink the metal. But it'll also add moisture to the bearings, so you've got to be careful as to how you do it. But we're going to go ahead, now that it's nice and cold, put it on that housing and coax it in. I'm using a couple of brass drifts and a socket to get it in there. Once it makes that stiff sound, it's done. So yeah, just like that. Very good. I'll show you guys real quick. Some ghetto ass motherfuckers around here. So there it is. Let me wipe it off quickly. Try to not mark up the outside as much as possible, but there it is installed. I'll go ahead and put the retaining nut. Where is it? There it is. I'll put the retaining nut on the back side here and secure it and snug it down. Eventually I'll have to put some Loctite in it or something, but for now let's just mount it and keep going. Alrighty. Like, actually it's backwards. Good thing I noticed that. These are those parts made from that quality UPR stuff. Lake Worth, China. Very good. So I went ahead and ordered some strange single adjustable shocks for the rear coilover setup for the Fairmont. Problem is, the coilover setup bottoms on the shock, as you can see on the body of the shock, based on that shoulder you see. So that means that I have to eliminate the shield and that top washer kind of holding everything together. So I'll see about doing that. Okay, that was fairly painless. Big old shears or scissors, comes right out, but the top part I believe is tack welded on, so we'll see how we can get that guy off without getting a hacksaw or anything involved. Okay, so I already mounted the upper control arms. Unfortunately, I'm a man of one crew, so I'm a crew of one, so I cannot film and install stuff at the same time. Real straightforward, guys, to install these control arms. Really, guys, I don't have to tell you how to install control arms. Stick a bolt through the hole, and then when the rear end gets in there, we're going to have some nice control arms in there. Now we're going to go ahead and mount the rear control arm. I got to get rid of this exhaust because when it comes time to mount the rear end, this is going to be in the way. But I'm going to be installing these solid lowers. I'm not really messing around. Just went ahead and installed these solid lowers. These come apart, so that's why they're zip tied together. It still has a spring perch even though I'm using a coilover, but it's nice to have the option. And I'll go ahead and get this guy installed and show you what it looks like installed. Okay, control arms installed. Both sides have the control arms installed, so I'm ready to get the coilover assembled, take this shock off, and I'm sure that's going to be a pain in the ass to mount. Look at how clean this Fairmont is underneath. Honestly, for being a 1979 Fairmont from Waco, Texas, it's pretty darn clean. So, take this guy off, assemble the coilover unit, and that's it. That's going to be it for needing what I have to bolt onto the car. Then just bring the rear end over and start assembling that guy into its new home. Okay, as you can tell, I'm sweating balls. Why? Because this garage has zero ventilation. So I came out here to my car show chair and decided to show you that I got all the shit out of the shock. Basically, the shield had to get popped out of the top, and I did that with some millwright ingenuity. Let me wipe the lens real quick. I look a little halo-ish. Still look like shit, but whatever. So basically, you have to take the boot, for lack of a better word, off of the deal and make sure this guy comes apart. As a millwright, I probably could have done this quicker with a hacksaw and a vise, but for you millwrights out there, no, you have to kind of make do with what you got. Like when they send you the wrong gasket for a turbine and you got to pound your own out, 3 of you will get that reference. That's all that matters to me. But got it out. Now let's assemble a coilover, see how it all goes together. Okay, so what I see here is 3 major parts to it, so let's see how it all goes together. Part number 1 should go over the shock and bottom out on the body. Perfect. Just like that. Very nice. I gotta thread that guy all the way down. I'm not gonna bore you with that video. I mean, if I was another YouTuber, I'd show you me threading this all the way down, but I'm gonna spare you that nonsense. I'm a good guy like that. Then comes the spring. Not sure if it's directional, but if there's words to it, I'll have them facing up. There you go. So I'll have these guys facing up. Would you look at that? Ooh, it's a little bent. I wonder if that's factory or for me pounding it. We'll see. And the last part. Perf. Now, I would think this guy bottoms on this guy. Yep. Very nice. Let's tighten it up. All said and done, it should pretty much look like so. There's going to be some isolator bushings bottom and top. Obviously, when you put it in, you want a bushing on the bottom and then one on the top when it goes through the vehicle. And I think that's it. So let's see about getting it installed in the car and getting the old ones off first is going to be interesting. They've probably been in there 30 years. So I'll see if I can get those out with much of a headache. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mount it. And got this. This is basically how it all goes together. I'll get the other side on in a second. But yeah, I'm just going to mount it just so I can get it rolling. Most of the final buttoning up and everything is going to be done probably on a lift because honestly, This is for the birds. If I can get it rolling again, get it back on a lift, and then tighten up everything, put the torque box reinforcements on, little by little, it can get done. As of now, I just wanted to bring it home, get some work done on it based on, you know, instead of just kind of sitting around, get the rear end in, get the tires mounted, see what it looks like on the ground, adjust the ride height, blah, 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 then do the final touching up on the lift somewhere. Okay, after a lot of wrestling, there's a light up here, so get that out of there. That light works pretty good. After a lot of wrestling, and if you've ever installed a rear end by yourself, okay, this is a tremendous pain in the ass, but it's in there. I do have to clearance the wheel well, because that's as big a tire as I could put underneath this car. It's a 27, is it 27 10 and a half, 27 10 and a half by 15. That's it. That's as much as I can get away with on this Fairmont. And honestly, I don't think I need that much bigger of a tire, and if I do, I'll probably need suspension work to go along with that. But I mean, the stance, these are stock springs. It's stock springs. They're very loose. They're like, you know, straight 6 springs. Let me get rid of that light so it can sort of have a bit of a contrast. So they're the springs that came out of it because I had issues with the coilovers touching. So the coilovers ended up touching on the inside of the wheel. So this car will not get coilovers. I'll be selling those. And it's probably going to get a different set of shocks. The Strange adjustables are good. I just desire something else, honestly. I want double adjustable, not single. But yeah, man, there it is, guys. I'm damn proud of myself. I mean, I did this by myself. Busted my ass in the garage for a little bit. It sucked. I'm not gonna say it was a good time. It really sucked, but it's in. The other side, the tire's a little low. Let me go show you. I'm gonna pull this car out tomorrow and get it in the sunlight just to get a good glimpse of it. But this tire's a little low. But there you go. It all fits inside. I need a BFH for the inside to clearance the wheel so I can then, you know, not have any clearance issues going forward. But there it is. Pretty proud of myself that I busted my ass. I sweated probably 2 pounds off, but so far that's how it's gonna look, and we'll get cracking on it tomorrow a little more. So as you saw, I got the rear end installed, and I kind of started liking working on the car again. The problem is it's a little hot in that bay, but I'm getting as much work as done as possible. Subsequently, it's going to make me want to probably put the front suspension on also. That's going to probably require a lift, but just wanted to give you guys an update as to what's happening. The Fairmont is rolling on. The new car buying front is going to be paused because what I see out there isn't exactly to my liking. So if I do come across anything, you guys will be the first to know. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll talk to you later.